Everyone, anyone, maybe you, if you're waiting for the housing market to crash, you could be losing on a big wealth building opportunity. Right now, you could be sitting on the sidelines and complaining about 6.7% mortgage rates, but new construction inventory just hit 9.8 months of supply. That's a lot. 75% of builders are offering massive incentives on quick move-ins, and smart investors are just scooping up the deals. They might not exist 6 months from now. So the next 90 days or 120 days, I think, are going to determine who builds this generational wealth and who stays kind of stuck renting or overpaying later. Because 2026, or maybe by the end of the year, rates might drop and everyone will flood back in the market, and today's high prices will look like a steal. So you want to stay to the end, because I'm going to show you the exact 3-step strategy my clients are using right now to get $40,000, $30,000, $50,000 in concessions from these builders, or even on existing homes. And say maybe that's on a $500,000 home. So you don't want to miss it. I'm really excited today to share this market news. I'm going to make sure you don't lose any money. The idea of selling your house is to net as much money as possible. So let's go. Okay, I'm going to show you something that's happening right now that I would say 90% of your agents may not even know or understand. But right now we're witnessing the biggest builder panic in modern real estate history. It's creating opportunities. I've never seen anything like this before. And I come from custom home builders. I'm going to show you some numbers. You want to know this, especially if you're going to say, buy a house or a brand new house. And if you're selling a home and you want to buy a brand new home, which I'd say about 50% of my empty nesters are buying new construction, brand new, something they never had before. Here's the numbers. Check this out. New home inventory just hit 9.8 months of supply. Check this graph out. That's massive, like I said earlier. But the kicker is that 57% of new home communities are offering incentives on these to-be-built homes. So you can actually put your home, start preparing your home for the market and buy one of those to-be-built homes. Maybe it takes 6 months so you can sell your house at the same time. That's a really good move for people. 75% of builders are offering incentives on quick move-in inventory. So if you put your home on the market now and you want it to move quickly, you can capture those deals. They're out there. Now, not in every community, however, there are in many. And the newly built home sales, this graph shows that will remain largely unchanged from last year. These are predictions from NAR, National Association of Realtors, FHA, Mortgage Banker Association, MBA, Wells Fargo, all of them. So do you understand what this really means? Builders are literally begging people to buy their homes. I went into a new construction the other day and they were just waiting to give away things. But the secret sauce, as I call it, that most people don't know, is that builders are buying down mortgage rates by 0.5 point on average compared to the existing home. So while an existing home is, say, financing at 6.7%, a new construction is averaging 6.2% because builders are throwing money at rate buy downs. It's kind of free money, guys. But wait, there's more to this. The National Association of Home Builders just reported that 37% of builders cut their prices in June. And this is the highest percentage since they started tracking this in 2022. We're talking about builders who haven't had to negotiate in years, suddenly slashing prices and throwing in everything but the kitchen sink. Well, they're probably throwing that in too, because upgrade your kitchen sink for free or something like that, giving away incentives. So this graph here shows April through June, the percentage of builders giving incentives. From April, 29% to 34% in May, and now 37% in June. Take a look at this. This isn't crazy. I've never seen this before. Now, here's what your typical agent won't tell you, because they just don't know, or they just don't like to work with builders, or they're scared to work with builders. They're not used to it. I've come from builders. I know how to work with builders. Builders are using every tool in their arsenal right now. They're doing rate buy downs, averaging 0.5 point, price cuts on 37% of inventory, closing cost assistance, and these fantastic upgrade packages worth tens of thousands. When you walk through a sample home and everything is an upgrade, well, now they're included all this stuff. And they also extended rate locks for those of you who need to sell your home to buy. That is a great thing for people who need to sell to buy their home. I had a client last month get a $35,000 upgrade package, 2% for their closing cost credit, and a rate buy down to, I think it was 5.9% on a $480,000 home. That's crazy. You won't get that on a resale property. But what you need to know and understand about builder psychology is they have these carrying costs. I know my father always used to talk about that. Every single home sitting there, they're carrying that cost. If the home doesn't sell, it costs them money, interest, insurance and opportunity costs. So they're really highly motivated right now to move inventory, especially when we head into the slower fall and winter seasons. But I want to address the market flip. It just flipped overnight. I think in May, it just flipped. It's going to change everything, and people's mindset needs to change. Because the first time in years, we've had more sellers than buyers on the market right now. Redfin just reported 1.9 million sellers versus 1.4 million active buyers. Think about that for a second. We went from multiple buyers fighting over every listing to sellers actually having to compete for buyers. And this is the complete opposite. This happened quickly, right? And we haven't seen this in the past 5 years. So agents getting in the business 5 years ago, they have no idea what they're getting into. And that's why you really want to make sure when you hire somebody, hire a real deal agent. I can refer you one who's been in the market through many market shifts. I've been doing this for 31 years. I've been through several market shifts, and that's what you want to hire. I can help you. If you go to realdealagent.com, right there you can just give me your name, address, and see if I can find you a really good realtor in your area who's going to help you through this process. So what does it all mean? Well, it means that fewer buyers mean less competition for listings and more pressures on sellers to dial back their asking price, make concessions, stage their home so it shines. It's a reversal from just a few months ago even, or even years ago, when buyers were writing offers $50,000, $100,000 over asking with no inspection. So inspections are back, and that's why using a pre-home inspection strategy that I have in my book, Home Selling Sharks, is really important. You want to fight that home inspection shark before it gets you. This is not happening everywhere equally. I was just speaking with agents in the Northeast, like myself, and they're like, what are you talking about? We still have multiple offers, but less, but still have them. But in the Midwest, the South, like Florida, sellers are really making concessions. They're making real concessions. So take a look at this next graph, because I want to show you that, in fact, 22 of the largest metros right now have falling home prices. Yes, Tampa is a leader, in Florida, Austin, Texas, both down over 5% year over year. Now, before you panic, remember, these markets went up 50 to 60% over the past 5 years. So a 5% pullback still leaves homeowners in a strong position, right? But for the buyers, this is their moment. Markets that were impossible to buy in 2 years ago are now giving you options, negotiating room, and actual time to make informed decisions instead of rushing into it. It's such a great time right now. And if the rates do really go down and the Fed, all that happens and rates do come down as the administration wants it to, people are going to come out again. But I do want to look at mortgage rates because there's so much misinformation about there, speaking about rates. It's kind of making my head spin. Rates are around 6.7 right now. Everybody knows that. But here's what happened last week that really nobody's talking about. And we'll see what happens with the Trump-Powell headbutting and this push and pull that's happening right now, because when rates drop just slightly to their lowest level in 3 months, mortgage applications, they jumped 9.4% in 1 week. Refinance applications shot up 56% compared to last year. And you know what this tells me? People are ready to buy. The demand is absolutely there. It's just been suppressed by rate anxiety. The moment rates give any relief, buyers are going to flood back in. That's why it's so important right now before the rates go down. But where are rates going? Here's some predictions. Take a look at this one graph from 8 major forecasters here. They're predicting an average of 1.9 home price appreciation for 2025, with rates staying around 6.4 to 6.5% through 2026. Fannie Mae, MBA, Wells Fargo, they're all saying the same thing. Don't expect dramatic rate drops. But let's see what happens with Trump and the administration, who knows? Now, a different visual of the same information, the next graph, shows you forecasts. So what do you think? Just drop a comment below. Do you think Jerome Powell will be sent packing and the rates will come down now that inflation is handled and money is actually coming into our government for the first time in a long time? Give me your thoughts. Here's my take on it. A Morgan Stanley guy I read, I think it's James Egan, says, we don't expect mortgage rates to come down much, at least through third quarter 2025. But everyone's focused on this like it's bad news. I see it as amazing news, because if rates stay elevated through 2025, it means competition stays low, inventory stays high, and sellers keep making concessions. Then when rates do drop in 2026, you'll own an asset you bought at a discount that suddenly becomes highly desirable again. Do you guys get this? Remember, you marry the house, you date the rate. So that $50,000 price reduction you negotiate today will save you money forever. that 6.5% rate, you can just refinance that when it does, right? So another thing I want to talk about is inventory. Let's talk about inventory. What's happening with inventory? Because that's kind of where the rubber kind of meets the road here. See this next graph put together, basically showing how inventory levels have been rising for 20 consecutive months, year over year. And all you have to do is keep an eye on these graphs and the market. I've been watching this for the last few years. In many markets, we've fully recovered to pre-pandemic inventory levels. So from this graph, right now we're kind of where we were around 2023. But you can see the 2023, the chart, that was on a downturn, where now it's swiftly going up. You have to keep an eye on this. The West and South have completely recovered their inventory levels. Inventory levels, especially in the Sun Belt, are now sufficient to put downward pressure on home prices. So what does it mean for prices? We're going to see kind of like a Goldilocks pricing, not too hot, not too cold, just right type of thing. So as this graph, I love this graph, it shows that prices are decelerating. Home price appreciation is decelerating from the crazy 15 to 20% we saw in 2021-22 down to a more sustainable 1 to 2% annually. I showed this visual before. It's a great visual. If you owned a home before 2019 or for even 20 years, 30 years, you've had amazing appreciation. Now the market's starting to level off. Did you think it was going to be like this forever? No. Now, most people hear price deceleration and, it's bad. But wrong. It's actually what creates opportunity. When price growth slows down, affordability improves, and more buyers can enter the market. And we get back to normal, healthy market dynamics. That's what I love to see. But something people don't consider is affordability isn't just about home prices and interest rates, it's also about income growth. Wages are still growing, which means affordability will continue to improve even if rates stay elevated. And what we're seeing is a complete shift in the market psychology right now. Sellers who are used to getting whatever they wanted for their house and doing nothing, now they have to price competitively, stage their homes, and actually market their properties. This is why you need a Real Deal realtor like me or someone I can introduce to you. Just go to realdealagent.com. I have agents all over the US that will get the job done with a little of my coaching. And what's really interesting, that realtors all over the US, they watch my videos, they subscribe to my channel. And I just started a coaching channel called Agent Edge. I can't wait to get it started so I can help agents learn and do what I could do and develop a pool of agents for you, my YouTube sellers from all over the country. So it's kind of like 2019 all over again, when real estate was actually a negotiable transaction. And if you follow my strategies in my Home Selling Shark book, you'll be guaranteed to net more money. And then you get the model home mindset shift that you have to get, and you have to take it. You just have to get my books. Just put in the comment section your name and your email, and we'll contact you and mail you copies. Yes, or you can go on Amazon and buy them. Not that expensive. So there are some new construction strategies here. I'm going to share some of my insider strategies. Most agents, like I said, don't think about, something I think about. So if you're considering buying right now, say, this section here, you have to keep listening because it saves you up $30,000 or more. So first, you understand buyers' sales cycles. Builders get nervous when they have too much standing inventory. And as per this graph, builder supply right now, we have, like we talked about earlier, there's 9.8 months of supply, right? And builders are getting nervous. That means late summer and fall, they're going to be incredibly negotiating seasons as they try to clear inventory before the winter. It's a really exciting time for buyers. And if you're a seller sitting on the sidelines, you may get lower than expected for what your home, but you'll make it back on the buying side. Second, learn to stack incentives. Don't just take the rate buy down or closing costs or upgrades. Negotiate for multiple concessions. I just got a client get a rate of 1% rate buy down, $15,000 in closing costs, and a $25,000 upgrade package on a single home. I mean, it's incredible what's out there today. And third, target specific phases. When builders open new phases, they often offer grand opening incentives. When they're trying to close out a phase, they offer closeout incentives. Avoid the middle, that's when you pay full price. And number 4, understand builder reporting periods. Builders are publicly trading companies with quarterly earning calls. So end of the quarters, especially Q4, they'll do almost anything to hit their sales numbers. But the insider secret is builders would rather give you $30,000 incentives than reduce the price by $30,000. Why? Because then incentives don't affect the comparable sales prices in the neighborhood, but price reductions do. So use this to your advantage. Get incentives. But what if you don't have a lot of builders in your area in new construction? What about the resale market? There are opportunities there as well. First, you just need to identify motivated sellers. You can look for homes that have been on the market 30 plus days. You can look how they're staged and where their motivation is, get your realtor to make calls for you. You know, in this market, if your home has been sitting for over a month, there's usually a reason. Either it's overpriced, has issues, or the seller needs to move for life reasons. These sellers are your gold mine. They'll negotiate. They're starting to get nervous. Their agent is probably pressuring them to reduce the price, and they've been more open to creative solution. Home sellers right now are really open to creative solutions. Just ask for seller concessions for, like I said, like the builders, rate buy downs. You know, sellers can give you money to buy down your rate. Closing costs, which you can go up to about 3% or 6% depending upon what mortgage you have. Home warranties, which, you know, I'd rather get credits for something else. Repair credits, moving allowances. Remember, in this market, sellers who need to move, they're going to move. They just need to feel like they're getting a fair deal. Sometimes that means negotiating on terms rather than just the price. It just helps out the market and the comparable pricing. So what's coming? Forecast for 2025. This is where I think strategy becomes really critical. If you look at this graph, it shows existing home sales forecasts. And existing home sales are forecasted to be up slightly from last year, but still historically low. Like new home sales remain relatively flat. So what does it mean? It means we're in a low volume, high opportunity market. Mortgage rates are predicted to stay 6.4, 6.7 range through 2026. Who knows that? I wouldn't put any prediction on mortgage rates right now. There's so much volatility there and so much conversation. But don't expect dramatic drops, but we'll see modest improvements. Home prices are forecast to appreciate 1 to 2% annually, a return to historical norms after years of unsustainable growth. Here's what this forecast tells us right now. We have 18-month window, maybe not as long as that, opportunity, low competition, motivated sellers, builder incentives, and stable if elevated rates. This is the time to act, not to wait, because the National Association of Home Builders is forecasting decline in single-family starts for 2025. Builders are pulling back on new construction. That means in 2026 and 27, there's going to be less supply coming online, which supports future price appreciation. It's all there. It's pretty simple. Okay, as I promised you, a 3-step strategy my clients are using to get massive concession. So first, step 1, I call it the portfolio approach. Create a portfolio of options. Don't fall in love with one house. Look at 2 or 3 resale opportunities and 2 or 3 new construction options. This gives you negotiating leverage because you have alternatives. What we do is we have our buyer agent team, they put it on a spreadsheet and we analyze all the different things that they're offering and then come up with a solution. Second step is, I call the concession calculator, is to calculate total cost of ownership, not just monthly payment. Factor all the concessions, incentives, and long-term costs. My client last month, he chose a home that was $20,000 more expensive but saved $35,000 in total concessions and incentives. What's that going to be like for you? So again, you need a budget worksheet to put this stuff on. You can analyze it. I use Google Sheets and I share it with my client. And the third step is the strategic timeline, I call it. Just time your offer strategically. End of the month, end of a quarter, home sitting 30 plus days. Look at the stats. Builder inventory clearance events. Timing is everything in negotiations. And I have many real life examples. Recently, a client we just went out there and they identified a builder and they were trying to close out a phase. So I told them, look around for builders and find out ones that are closing out. We found one. And then we found also a resale that had been sitting for 45 days and also a new construction with grand opening incentive. So we looked at all 3 and they used the competition between these options to negotiate the best deal. Ultimately, getting the new construction home with $42,000 in total concessions. But if you don't know what's going on in the other areas, you can't find the right deal. It's so important to look at your strategy and write it all down in a Google Sheet. So I've been in this business long enough to recognize opportunity when I see it. And right now, we're in the middle of one of the biggest ones I've seen since 2012 and after the foreclosures and all that. But while most people are sitting on the sidelines, worried about rates and waiting for that perfect market, savvy buyers listening to this video and sellers just are making moves and building real wealth. I'm not sure if it's good for you, but we can talk and go to my calendar, dianescalendar.com. Grab a call with me. Let's find out what's good for you. Every major real estate success story I've witnessed started with someone stepping in when others step back, and also started with a plan, hiring a real deal realtor to help you with the plan, whether it's buying or selling. Again, we're in a 12-month, I think it's more like 12 months, but to 18 months depending, window. I think the next 6 months are going to make some big changes. Rates will drop, confidence returns, demand will spike, competition will heat up again. If rates go down, people are going to be out again. So if you're thinking about selling, whether it's 6 months or 2 years from now, now's the perfect time to get ahead of the game. I'm doing my room-by-room reviews for people where I walk through your home and I tell you exactly what buyers will notice and what they don't notice, so you can maximize your home's value when it comes to time to sell your home. Get you started. And also, we can schedule the exterior photo shoots now while your home looks its best on its outside. The seasonal shots can make a huge difference in your marketing later, because when you have great pictures and it's snow on the ground, you look better. Always get the best optimal pictures. So if you're in the market and you want to talk through the specific goals, connect, go to my calendar. Real estate is never one size fits all, and I love to help you guys make the most of this moment. Just subscribe to my channel. Now, speaking of smart moves, if you're thinking of selling or just curious about how sellers can sabotage their own success, you want to watch this next video. It's 10 dirty tricks home sellers use and why they backfire. It's amazing. It just pulls back the curtain on the most common shortcuts sellers make and why they often end in disaster. And from hidden defects to misleading fixes, break down all the traps to avoid and how honesty can actually be your strongest selling point. Trust me, you won't want to miss this one. Check it out right here.